Hello and welcome in. If this is your first time here, and welcome back if you've been following along. Today I have a very special video. This is something that I needed to hear when I was in a very dark space and I just didn't know why I was always on the go, why I was always not able to just slow down and settle in the present moment. And so today I'm going to share with you some tools on how to heal out of survival mode the divine feminine way. And I had always listened to podcasts and by men and read books, and I wasn't necessarily sure, I didn't feel that they connected with me. And so the ways that I'm going to share today are specific to women. They can obviously be used by anybody, but these are the ways that I've used that I've found to be helpful to me in coming back to my body. So what I'm going to start with, I have my notes right here. What I'm going to start with is, what is survival mode and how can you even tell whether you're in survival mode or not? So survival mode is pretty much always being on the go, not being able to slow down, feeling like you're in fight or flight, like you always have somewhere else to be. You can't just settle down in the moment. You're either in the past or you're in the future. You're either worried about all of the things that have happened in the past that keep holding you back, or you're chasing something in the future and you're just not able to live life in the present moment. And so this happens a lot of the time because it's usually trauma or stuck emotions. Emotions that you weren't able to process as a child in your body because you just didn't know how. They felt so intense and so deep that you didn't know how to just sit with them and feel them. It felt uncomfortable. It felt painful. So it was easier to dissociate and go into your head. And most of the time this is continuously happening because we feel that we are still trying to outrun something. Our brain thinks that we are still in that moment because we're constantly reliving the trauma, reliving the stuck emotion. And until you heal those emotions, until you move them out of your body, you're going to constantly think that you are in that space. You're going to constantly think that I have something to outrun, like I can't just sit within my body, I can't just be here. Because if you were present, you would be able to see the pain within your body, you would be able to notice everything that is going on within your body. And if you've been outrunning your emotions, outrunning your trauma, this is not something that is easy to do. This is not something that you want to do. And some of us, unfortunately, don't even have the luxury to do this. We have work, we have families, we have friends, we have all of these things that we need to worry about before we can just sit down and look within ourselves to see what is going on inside. And so that is pretty much what survival mode is, and how to tell if you're in survival mode is if you're just eating, speaking, walking fast, you are not able to slow down your movements, you're not able to just settle in the space you're in and observe everything around you and experience life around you from the present moment, from a clear headspace. You constantly feel like, I can't just sit here, and you'll notice sometimes if you even try to sit down, I've literally had to do this practice multiple times and I'm still constantly doing this. I'll sit down and I'll try to settle my body, I'll close my eyes and I'll try to see what is going on. I'm like, okay, this time is for me to sit down. And as soon as I'm sitting down and I'm settling down, my mind comes up with something to do. It's like, oh, I have to wash the dishes. Oh, I didn't do this. Oh, I didn't do that. And it's like your mind feels that this is so uncomfortable to feel, to sit down with your emotions, that it's easier to just distract you with something else. And now more than ever, it is so easy to get distracted. It is so easy to just go on your phone. Something that I notice is sometimes I'll feel something uncomfortable in my body and I'll just pull out my phone, go on social media and scroll. And that is only a distraction that is continuously going to come up because the emotion wants to be healed and it wants to be released. So healing out of survival mode will help you release all of these stuck emotions so that you are able to be in the present moment and you're not trying to numb your feelings, you're not trying to distract yourself constantly, you're not always on the go, you're not able to enjoy your life. So for the next part of this video, I want to share some tools that I've used that over the years, by the way, this takes time. This work takes time because when you're in your head, like let's say I give you all of this information today and you're like, okay, I know what to do, and you mentally know the information, that does not mean that you have embodied the information. That does not mean that you have taken in all of the information and that you are able to process everything. Because emotions, you have like a lifetime of emotions that may not have been dealt with, that you may not have processed. You may have a lifetime of living with a certain trauma that you've just held on for so long and you didn't know how to let go of. So all of the practices that I'm going to share today are things that you do over time. This is something I've been doing for years. I've been doing this for years, and I'm constantly releasing emotions and discovering more about myself. So this is not an overnight thing. Be patient with yourself. Don't get discouraged when you don't see results right away, because the masculine and the head wants to see results right away. That's how we've been conditioned. Like we want to see results right away. Whereas the feminine is more in the body and she enjoys more of the process, and you get to celebrate yourself for every little thing that as you go through all these changes and doing these practices, celebrate all the little changes that you notice. So the first thing that I have right here is journaling. Journaling has been such a game changer for me because a lot of the time I'll be thinking something in my head, but until I journal, and I feel so stuck in it. Like I'll think something in my head and I feel so stuck in it. But until I actually put my pen to paper and start to write out what's going on, I don't even know what's going on up there because it gets, I don't know if you guys feel this too, like it gets kind of jumbled up and it gets to a point where it's like, I don't even know what's going on up there anymore and I don't know how to solve this. And it goes from one thought to the next and into a rabbit hole. And so when I sit down and I journal, I'm able to have everything on paper. I'm able to see more clearly, and more from my subconscious mind comes onto the paper, whereas maybe my conscious mind tries to block this from coming out when I'm just thinking it out in my head. So journaling has been huge in releasing emotions and understanding myself, in just slowing down and being with what is going on in my body. And on that note of writing, I also have something that I've done is write letters to people who have caused me pain, whether it is from my childhood or more recently, writing out letters to maybe a parent that maybe like they abandoned you, or maybe they didn't show up for you. And abandonment doesn't have to necessarily be physically. It can also be emotionally. A parent that wasn't there for you, who was always busy doing their own thing, didn't know how to show up for you and your emotions. So writing everything down that you want to say to them, how they've wronged you, how your life would have been different if this parent had showed up how you'd wanted? How did you want them to show up differently? What is it that you needed? You literally get to learn more about yourself in this process as you also release all the anger and resentment that you've held toward this person. Holding anger and resentment it just causes disease and illness in your body. It does not help you. You do not need the other person to apologize to you to get closure. You do not need that. All you need is to release everything that you feel from your own body and on your own terms. You do not need the other person. So literally write everything. Nothing is off the table. Write everything that you've always wanted to say to this person. You're not going to send this to anybody. This is just for you. So write everything down. And then once you're done and you're satisfied, take the letter and go outside and light that letter on fire and just watch it burn. And imagine that all of your emotions that you just expressed are being released. They're not in you anymore. They are out into the ethers and they're not in your body anymore. And the second practice that I feel that has helped me is movement in different ways. So moving, let's say, one of my favorite ways is, first I tried yoga, like regular yoga, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. But I felt that it was too fast for me at the space, or I don't want to say the phase that I was in at the time when I hadn't released a lot of emotions yet. I felt that it was too fast paced and I was not necessarily getting what I wanted out of it. And I felt that I was kind of just like going through it, but I wasn't doing it with intentionality. And I didn't feel that I could do it with intentionality at the time also because there was so much pain in my body, and there was like something I was trying to prove. I'm like, oh, I have to do the pose this way and I have to like move this way, and like I wasn't actually doing it to feel good in my body. So for me, it was not the way. But yin yoga changed my life. Yin yoga is literally a yoga designed to help you release trauma from your body, to help you release stuck emotions from your body. I'm sure most of yoga is like this, but what worked for me is this type of yoga. Because you're moving slowly, you sit in each pose for about 3 to 5 minutes, which sounds like a lot, I know, but that's what helped me. It helped me just sit with my body, and the more that you just sit within the pose and you feel all the tension, you feel the stuck emotion, you breathe through it, you take your time to feel the emotion, and as you feel your emotion, as you release it, you go more into the pose. And it honestly made me realize that all the tension and ways that I'm not able to move my body is mostly because I am choosing to hold on to something in that area. I'm not choosing to release and just let go. And just doing that yoga, like I've cried so many times doing that yoga, and I've had so many releases. So I 10 out of 10 recommend this type of yoga. It has helped me release so many stuck emotions. And like what I actually focus more on now is regular yoga to slow down my body. So I don't know what order you want to do this in. Find what works best for you. But doing regular yoga now has helped me get more in touch with my breath as I move slowly and with intention. So I started out with yin yoga, releasing all the stuck emotions, and I still do it every once in a while. I don't do it as much, but now I do yoga because I want to build my strength. I want to move slowly with intention and increase my breath. So do what works best for you. Try both and see what your body likes more. And let's see what else I have here. So something else that I have is try to practice slowing down your speech. Try to practice slowing down like while you're eating. Maybe you watch TV while you're eating, which I do a lot with my family. Even while you do that, just put yourself in a space where you focus, you're present with the food that is around, like in front of you. You smell it, use your senses, smell the food, just taste it with all of your all of your senses. Like, just sit with it, eat it, chew slowly, maybe leave your fork down in between bites so you're not constantly eating and chewing, so that way you can just enjoy it and eat slowly and chew your food more. And walk around more slower. Like, it's kind of like a dial. Think of a dial where if you're walking at a certain speed, eating at a certain speed, speaking at a certain speed, change the speed on that dial and start moving a little bit slower and slower and slower. And for the next thing that has helped me, oh, I didn't even mention this. This is a fun one. So another way of moving your body is also just dancing and singing. So I had singing as a separate one, but personally, I love dancing and singing at the same time, although I love to sing my heart out in the car. But dancing and singing together is just like moving all the emotion through your body. Like, put on a song that puts you in your feelings. Or even just something fun that you just want to dance to, like moving your body like a child. And you can do slow, you can do fast, whatever your body feels that it needs in that moment. Let your body choose what it needs. Put that on and just dance your heart out and release all of those emotions in this way. So the next thing that I have, the next tool that I've used is Yoga Nidra. So this type of yoga, it sounds weird. It's actually, I honestly don't know too much about the background of it, but I don't think it's a yoga, because it's more of a meditation that you do while you're lying down. So it's not the type of typical yoga where you have to like sit up straight and you're sitting like this. I have never enjoyed that type of meditation. I have never enjoyed that type of meditation, just because I feel like it feels so rigid in my body. Maybe there is more stuck emotions that I need to release before I feel good doing that. I have no idea. But what has always felt good to me is lying down as I meditate. And so this type of yoga already does that. But aside from that, it seems so simple, but it is so effective. I'm amazed at how effective this type of meditation is. You lie down, and the person who is guiding you in the video is pretty much guiding you to different parts of your body that you are putting your attention on. It will guide you through your jaw, maybe your tongue, your throat, your shoulders, your fingers, and it will go through your entire body. And as you give attention to your body in all the different parts, you feel your nervous system is literally being reset. It's just kind of being settled down and regulated. You feel like you're sinking more into the space that you're sitting on. And and so like doing this type of yoga I keep calling it yoga because it's called Yoga Nidra, but doing this type of meditation has helped me regulate my nervous system so much, because I have a lot of the time, honestly, I have a lot of back pain where I'm just holding on so much tension, and I'm holding on to so many things in my body, that doing this regularly just helps me release all of that and helps me regulate my nervous system. So 1000% recommend this type of meditation. Literally, this is like the one thing out of all of them. This is the one thing that you need to do and focus on if you're trying to heal out of survival mode and regulate your nervous system and step more into your body. And I don't know her last name, but the person that I like to follow along on YouTube, her name is Ali, and her last name starts with a B. I don't know how to say it, and I actually don't know what the full name is, but that's her. I love her videos and I love her voice. I don't know if she's going to speak to you as well, but you can try her. If not, there are a lot of videos about this. And then let me see what other points I have here. So the other thing that I've also liked to, I still do this now too, doing meditations, like hypnotic meditations or hypnotic kind of affirmations while I sleep. So just one that I used to do is healing my inner child. It was a healing your inner child hypnosis. And I did this, it was like an 8-hour long meditation that I did while I slept. And I would say that one helped me for a little bit in the beginning. And I felt happier and more excited in the morning when I woke up. And then for releasing stuck emotions, one that really helped me, I believe it's called, I'll add this also to the description so that way you don't have to like look, because this one is really, really good. It's a meditation. It's called mind body mapping. I don't know if that's exactly how you say it, but it's a type of meditation by this one account. I don't even know if this is a popular thing or not. It's a meditation that I found and I literally did it for so many nights and I felt so many emotions being released. It was insane. And it's a meditation where you just do it while you sleep. And it's similar to Yoga Nidra, where she goes over all the different parts of your body, not all of them, but some of them, where she goes over different parts of your body and she kind of says affirmations for you to release when she's mentioning that body part. So you're kind of releasing the emotion from the body parts that she's saying. I've literally sat in bed and I felt like I was awake, but I was sleeping. And I felt myself releasing the emotions. And the crazy part is that your subconscious mind is always listening. So many times I have like listened to the meditation in my sleep, and as soon as it ends, I somehow wake up in my sleep, take off my headphones and put them away. And I'm like, what? Like I was sleeping, but your subconscious mind is always listening to what you're saying. So if it's constantly listening to a point where it's like, okay, we're done here, let's do this. Like it's taking in all of this information. And I'm like, I'm already sleeping. I'm already like my body's healing physically. So why not take this time to release all of these stuck emotions and wake up feeling refreshed? So that's also one of the other ways that I like to step out of survival mode and more into my body. So let me see if I have any other points that I want to share. I feel like I went through everything. Okay, so I have one more point to make. So the reason that we need to heal out of survival mode is because, I don't know if you've heard of this, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it's kind of like a little pyramid. So I don't know, I drew it in my notes here. So it's kind of like a little pyramid like this, where your physical needs are all the way at the bottom of the pyramid. They are the things that you need to meet first before you can move up into the top of the pyramid. And all throughout the pyramid, there are things that you need to fulfill before you can reach self-actualization, which is at the top of the pyramid. And so if you're constantly in survival mode, you're feeling burned out, you feel like you're just always have to recover or take time to I don't know, like kind of rebalance and come back, and you're constantly stuck in this cycle where it's like, oh my god, I feel so burned out, and that's even if you take time to take care of yourself. I'm sure there are people who are out there constantly in survival mode without taking care of themselves, and this will literally lead to illnesses. This will lead to disease. Your body's way of calling out for your attention is through pain. If you do not take the time to listen to yourself, listen to what you need, to heal, to be in your body's gonna call out for attention one way or another, and one way it does this is through sickness. So this, you need to be able to meet the basic needs first to be able to go to the next level. And a lot of people, when they get into personal development, they'll learn about all of these things, about all these ways of kind of self-actualizing to a point where it's like, oh, I'm going to bypass my emotions now. I'm not going to feel them. But then what tends to happen if you bypass your emotions is they're always going to be in your subconscious mind, in your body. Like, you're always going to be aware of them. You're just always going to be trying to outrun them. And you're going to stay stuck in survival mode. You cannot go to self-actualization if you do not heal all of these basic emotions, stuck emotions in your body, and give yourself the food that it needs, nourish your body, because a part of our physical needs is a healthy diet. I believe the basic needs are food, shelter, safety, like clothing, like all of these are basic needs that our bodies need on this earth. Like, it makes sense that your body needs to have all of these things first before it can move into the next level, where, let's say, you find connection with the people around you. You need to have all of these basic needs where you take care of yourself first. You sit with your emotions, you make sure that you are okay before you move into the next level of connecting with other people, or even going to the next level where you feel like superhuman. So anyways, I feel like I've gone through all of the points that I needed to make, and I just want to say that this type of work of being in your body and showing up in the present moment and healing emotions as they come up, as they show up, it's not necessarily the easiest or fastest thing to do, and it will take time, but don't be discouraged. Without doing this type of work, I would not have been able to start my jewelry brand, or just be able to show up on here and share everything that I've learned, because I would have felt like everything was a burden. So I want to say, actually, one way that you'd be able to tell whether you're in survival mode or not is whether you feel like life is a burden or a blessing, whether life is a chore or it's a place to come and explore and just hang out with other humans. Your perspective on this shows where you're at physically in your body. And so I would encourage you to take this time and just be in your body with your emotions. I know it's not easy. I know it is not something that happens overnight, but you are worth the time, you're worth the energy, and you're worth just, like, think of the little girl inside of you that is calling out for your attention, and you're just telling her, you're not worth my time. You are going to be kind of ignored, whether it's through distractions or being numbed out through, I don't know, drugs or anything, alcohol, anything. You're pretty much pushing your inner child aside, and you're telling her, you're not important to me right now. I need to focus on something else. So whenever you feel the urge to distract yourself or to numb and not feel what is going on, think of that little girl. Would you do this? Think of actually your future daughter. Think of your future daughter when you do this. I don't know why we tend to, like, as women, we tend to, like, follow through more when we can see it as helping someone else or being in someone else's shoes. So think of your future daughter. Would you push her aside and tell her that her feelings are not important? Would you just ignore her? No, probably not. So the next time that you're feeling something in your body, just sit with it, acknowledge it. All it wants is to be heard and seen. That is it. And it will be released in a few minutes, and that emotion will not come up again in that way. It will probably come up if something else happens, and you can learn to process that, but not in the same way that it's been calling out for your attention. So thank you so much for listening and allowing me to be a part of your inner work journey. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. That was my stomach.